Well, most of you are enjoying the weather this Labor Day, but it's a different story in parts of Pennsylvania as severe weather moves through the region. Welcome to Weather Center. I'm Mike Bono. Not only Pennsylvania, but other areas in the Northeast are threatened. I'll look at the rest of the country in a moment, but let's focus on that severe weather with Jim Cantori right now.
Thank you, Michael. Unfortunately, areas now in southern New York, Orange County, across western New Jersey, Sussex County, Warren, Hunterdon County, all under warnings as that line of thunderstorms continues to race east at 40 to 50 miles an hour. And instead of a lot of people having barbecues this afternoon in Pennsylvania, they are cleaning up from a lot of damage with severe weather. Let me show you some of the reports that we have. And of course, this is early on. You could almost fill in all of Pennsylvania with a dot or two because of the reports that we've had recently. All sorts of hail and wind damage. Some of the most recent ones, 67-mile-per-hour gusts at Harrisburg, Middletown, and also Shermanstown in the Cumberland County area, reporting wind gusts of 67 miles per hour. And you can see these areas go all the way into New England. Speaking of New England, let's go ahead and take you in there on this Labor Day. This is just south of Portsmouth in Hampton, New Hampshire. Severe weather uprooting trees and power lines here. Homes in the area also damaged. These storms produced damage as they blew through Salem, New Hampshire, which is off to the southwest. So this whole area just under the gun with some action this morning before the sun even came up. Now, it looks like the worst weather will be to your south in New Hampshire, but let me show you where the areas are threatened as we work our way through this afternoon. So we're keeping an eye out at Connecticut, mainly south of the Mass Pike. And some of these storms are really pulsing up now just west of Litchfield County. And over in Orange County, as we mentioned, we already have the warnings out here toward Port Jervis. And look at those storms racing into Sussex County now. And this area is starting to pulse up again, even though we haven't had a lot of reports come in recently. My guess is we're still getting a lot of isolated wind damage and also power lines and trees down. As a matter of fact, this morning in Syracuse, we had 2 people killed and 80,000 people without power there as a result of the storms that blew through. But right now, Syracuse, you are out of the woods. But keep an eye out in the tri-state area. You'll notice our severe thunderstorm watch has been extended east. And as I mentioned, the main threats south of the Mass Pike, across Connecticut, Rhode Island, southeastern Mass, including Long Island and the Jersey Shore. So some big problems tonight as this thing continues to race toward the east. Now, the cold front is also dropping quickly to the south, but it is not uncommon for storms to redevelop where they've already pushed through. So we're talking about southeast Ohio, northern West Virginia, the Maryland Panhandle, also southwest Virginia, or southwestern Pennsylvania, I should say. So Pittsburgh, Charleston, back through Columbus. Keep an eye on this. We may have some storms that'll try and redevelop here, but right now the big show is with that squall line as it races across eastern Pennsylvania and on in toward New Jersey. So some very, very heavy showers and thunderstorms. Again, if you haven't noticed, or if you weren't keeping it up on events, we do have the U.S. Open going on in Flushing, New York right now, so we could have some big problems up in this part of the world as this line moves on to the east at about 50 miles an hour. So keep that in mind if you're one of the advisors that's watching the Open and keeping an eye on the weather. I would be shocked if you did not deal with some of this line later on this afternoon, probably in the next couple of hours or so, given the current speed. And also keep an eye out, too. Southern Connecticut, southern New York State, the northern end of this line is really starting to pulse up in a hurry. We could have some hail and also some wind. That will be the main features out of these storms. So anybody from Passaic County, New Jersey, down into Philadelphia now, which is where we have the warnings out for Chester, Montgomery, and also Bucks County, you need to keep an eye on this line because it has had a history, a large history of damaging winds and also some hail. So through midnight tonight, if you're in that severe zone, keep an eye out. Now, this area should be improving off to the north and west on the beach, not really realizing what is to come, but it looks like what is to come are 50 to 70 mile-per-hour winds, the chance at some hail, and obviously the chance at endangering them in their lives and their friends. So keep that in mind. What else is happening across the rest of the nation? Well, after we tell you about the website that we have for you, weather.com, we're going to go check in with Mike Bono as he talks about the heat and also the goings-on in the Gulf of Mexico. Mike?
Thanks a lot, Jim. Well, some of you in the southeast might be spending your holiday Monday under rainy skies, and while the heat continues in the central and southern plains, cooler temperatures on the way, courtesy of a cool front that's bringing that severe weather to a lot of the northeast. Well, in Detroit, the light rain didn't stop preparations for today's Labor Fest in Detroit. Volunteers worked through the rain getting everything ready. For today's event, you can trade in your umbrella for sunglasses by afternoon, as sunshine will complement your holiday outdoor activities. Much more fortunate, of course, than the State Fair grounds in Syracuse, New York, which were disrupted by severe thunderstorms in the middle of the night with 2 people killed. Detroit, your Labor Fest should go off without a hitch. A little cooler, 65 degrees there, 63 in Buffalo. You see what I mean by a front? It is much cooler there, but almost up to 90 in New York. Very deceiving for the folks on the beach. I hope you get word out there to anybody you know on the beach that severe thunderstorms are liable to come through, first hitting the Jersey Shore and maybe even the Maryland and Delaware coastlines, and back on into Cape Cod later. 89 in Raleigh-Durham, 86 Atlanta, and going on 100 again in Oklahoma City and probably Little Rock. The heat goes on in the south. Not only that, but it feels like 98 in Little Rock, 97 in Oklahoma City. There is a touch of humidity in the air. That humidity interacting with that cool front, bringing showers and thunderstorms, showing up around the boot heel of Missouri now, probably moving toward Memphis before too long, and maybe even Cincinnati. But up to the north of Detroit now, we've got some lovely weather, although a little cool, but it gets really chilly in Ontario and Quebec province. Leading in that cool air is another almost secondary front from Escanaba, Michigan to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and Mackinac City right now getting showers and maybe a rumble of thunder on I-75 around the bridge as even cooler air pushes down through Sault Ste. Marie toward Traverse City and Grayling, Michigan, and eventually Detroit could get a brief shower out of that, but it doesn't look too serious. Here's some of those showers coming down through Carbondale, Illinois to the boot heel toward Cape Girardeau. But over the Gulf of Mexico, a very disturbed area of weather. We're looking for possible tropical depression development. There already is low pressure down toward the central southern Gulf. Some rain impacting Padre Island and Brownsville occasionally. Watch out for the swimming there. Lightning around the Louisiana coast, mouth of the Mississippi, just offshore Panama City, and some scattered storms in South Florida right now on your holiday, so beware of the threat there. But a breath of fresh air in September coming on down from the Canadian prairies to break the heat in Nebraska and pretty soon into Kansas. That is the trouble spot as far as our storms developing, but still hot to the south. And in the west, no real weather systems on the map to speak of, but there's still an upper level low. A little bit of cloudiness and cooler weather than you've seen recently in Southern California, but trouble spots in Utah, Arizona, and even a flood watch in parts of Idaho for this afternoon. As we could see that rotating circulation around that low pressure, local national park areas and national forest areas could get flooded if the rain gets heavy enough, and scattered lightning and thunder too. But again, the severest threat turns up in the northeast United States, especially the next few hours. Watching again the Gulf for possible development, but our cool front by back to work, back to school day really sweeps on through. An autumn-like day in Minneapolis, Chicago tomorrow, windy too, and showers sort of diminishing in New England as we have a weather system in the northwest as well. The south eventually will get relief from the heat and maybe some thunderstorms to bring that in, but locally heavy downpours in the northeast as our temperatures soar in the Sun Belt. And look at those nighttime temperatures tonight. We're looking at much cooler weather for the evening hours. Well, whether you're headed out for the holiday or long after a long weekend, home after a long weekend, you'll want to check in on TravelWise next.
You know, there's only so much you can say in a 30-second commercial, so let me simply say, thank you, cigarettes. You saved my life. I'm Morton Downey Jr., ex-smoker magna cum lousy. Smoking nearly killed me. I had to have my lung removed, the right one, remember? And still I was going bonkers for a butt. I had to quit. I did not have the luxury of smoking even one more cigarette. I pray I never smoke again, but the only way I can guarantee myself that I won't go back to them is by chewing this good-tasting cigarette gum. I'm chewing it now. Are the cigarettes folks paying me for doing this? Oh, you bet. They already gave me my life back.
Quit smoking for life with Cigarest Guaranteed. The no-nicotine homeopathic formula helps reduce tobacco cravings. To order, call 1-800-206-1023. That's 1-800-206-1023. Or send $29.95 to Cigarest, Box 4444, Carlsbad, California. Call 1-800-206-1023. You'll quit smoking or your money back.
This week, the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol has no van to drive and no checks to deliver. Because this week, Publishers Clearinghouse is putting thousands of real checks right in the mail. If you get an envelope with this green star, open it and you can find a real check for $100,000 that you can take right to the bank. So this week, the Prize Patrol will have to find something else to do.
Yes. Nice one.
Watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
this Travel-Wise, sponsored by Sleep In. All right, out there today on the radar scope, we have some busy folks working the local radars at the local National Weather Service offices, and the office in Philadelphia has just issued a warning for Delaware and Philadelphia counties in southeastern Pennsylvania. That is a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30. The Hurricane Center is dispatching an aircraft to investigate the whole region. Let's show you this on a different perspective. This is the cluster that we're concerning ourselves with. You can see it's pretty far south. Here's the Yucatan. This would be about Cancun. Here is Texas. That would be about Brownsville. So it's about halfway in between. Now, the waters obviously are very, very warm. The lowest pressure I could find would be in the western buoy, right about in there, about 1,009 millibars. So it's already rather low. And it looks as though if we do see this cluster persisting, we'll likely see some of the pressures falling a little more during the overnight period into the daytime on Tuesday. And once again, we can interpret the satellite picture all we want, but until that aircraft gets in there, we're just going to have to hold off on making any concrete judgments on what is going on, and more importantly, what is expected to transpire in this area during the day tomorrow. So we'll keep a vigil on that, as will the Tropical Prediction Center. Western Caribbean Sea, not that busy. You can see a little spin here. That's a broad upper low, so I suspect over Jamaica and eastern areas of Cuba and Hispaniola, we should see a lot of showers and thunderstorms as the afternoon wears on. Here again, a wave, it's making a beeline west. As mentioned, I'd say as early as tonight, anywhere from Guadalupe southbound, we'll probably see some showers and maybe some squally type weather. That will linger into the daytime on Tuesday. Not very organized, however. Off of the African coast, we have another system about to emerge, and this one will bear watching. But for now, it's just a broad cluster of showers and thunderstorms. We have a tropical depression in the eastern Pacific, and that is about 19.7. 14 miles south-southwest of Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Top winds are 35 miles per hour. The good news is it's tracking away from land very slowly to the west-northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Pressure about 1,004 millibars. Hopefully this one will continue to angle its way in that direction and not get into the Gulf of California and do what ISIS did a week ago, but nonetheless something we'll have to watch pretty carefully. Another vantage point showing the visible satellite imagery. See a spin out here, not too far from the island of Socorro. And once again, it looks like it's a fairly tight system. It's not near as big, but it is over warm water, and it looks like some slow intensification seems to be pretty likely with that. Here's how it looks over the stateside weather. We're watching this front. As it does make its mark, it is impinging on very hot, very tropical air over the middle Atlantic states. Severe threat pretty high today, especially from eastern PA all the way to southeastern areas of Massachusetts. And the real forefront of that would be around the New York City area. You can see this harrowing looking line coming in. Tell you what, Rod, I think we have another picture to show everybody. Take another perspective on this and look at the close-up imagery from the New York City area if we could. And I think we have the other Doppler radar. Is that available? There we go. Thank you. Here's New York City. Here's Flushing Meadow, by the way. So I would watch out. These storms are on a mission. They're probably only about 30 to 40 miles out. So watch out here. They're moving at about 50 miles per hour. They will be on top of the city probably by the bottom of the hour. Big storms, hail and high wind. Check out the rainfall from Sussex County down to the Philadelphia.
After a night of dangerous storms in parts of the Midwest and Northeast, more rain, wind, and lightning is possible. The potential trouble spots next on Weather Center.
You wouldn't choose any new car without a test drive, but test drive a Catera, and you may not want to test drive any other car. Find out why Automobile Magazine called it a very capable sports sedan and a kick to drive. See your authorized dealer today for more about Catera, the caddy that zigs. Get your kicks with a zero down, $399 a month lease for 36 months, $849 due at signing.
Going to Kansas City, here I come.
The blues makes you feel alive.
I don't want much.
Presenting Living the Blues.
I just want a little bit. Rock me, baby. Rock me all night long.
I said, get blues classics for just $12.99.
Something's got a hold on me here. Oh, you know the nighttime ride.
credit card and get a free bonus album of Chicago blues.
You know you shook me, baby.
Then audition other Living the Blues albums. Credit card users get 2 albums for just $12.99.
To order, call 1-800-693-6444. Use your credit card and receive your free Blues Giants cassette or CD, or send $12.99 plus $3.95 shipping to the address on your screen.
I'm sure other kids were interested in weather, but I was the only one that was a real fanatic about it. I used to sit on the front stoop and watch the wind blowing the trees around, the clouds moving fast. Now I look at the winds on a computer, and I tell people about it. Where are the trouble spots? Where's that front headed today? The weather right now might be entirely different by the time you're heading home. We keep you on top of it. The best part? I get to watch the wind for a living.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.